Hey gang, it's that old history guy, Pastor Roland Moss, with another weird news and wacky history report. Today we want to take a look behind the scenes at It's Raining, It's Pouring. A certain Mrs. Crouch was outside making soap on March 3rd, 1876 in Olympian Springs, Kentucky. Suddenly, chunks of raw meat, everything from small flakes of gristle to whole dismembered shanks of flesh, came raining from the sky. The Kentucky meat shower lasted a couple of minutes and ended by covering about 100 yards by 50 yards of the Crouch property. Word spread, and reporters soon started showing up asking, "What kind of meat is it, anyways?" Opinions varied. The town butcher weighed in with mutton, while others thought it was beef, bear meat, even frog fragments. Then the lunatic friend showed up, suggesting that someone take a bite. Sure enough, someone nibbled a piece. Nope, not mutton. The biology department from Transylvania University sent a team to cart the mystery meat back to campus. After extensive tests, these scientific whiz kids ID'd it as vulture vomit. Yep, Mrs. Crouch got caught up in a shower of buzzard barf. Not so, said the stargazers at the astronomy department. It's space meat. Thanks a lot, guys. That really helped. So, looking for someplace to go on vacation this year? Transylvania University still has some predator puke preserved under glass for you and your family to peer at. Think I'll pass. In other news, in 1937, Joseph Figlock was working sweeping Detroit streets. Not a glamorous job or heroic in any way, yet life was about to take an unexpected turn for this lowly sanitation worker. Figlock was sprucing up John R. Street near Hancock Avenue when a child plummeted out of the sky and landed on him. The baby girl had tumbled out of a fourth-floor window and just happened to land squarely atop Figlock's head and shoulders. Although the toddler was slightly injured in the mishap, she recovered. What are the chances of such a thing happening? Well, apparently pretty good. A year later, in October of 1938, Figlock was once again manning his broom and dustpan at 10:10 a.m. on a Tuesday morning in Canfield Avenue. Imagine his surprise when 2-year-old David Glenn Thomas tumbled out of a fourth-floor window and landed right on his poor battered head and shoulders. The toddler was rushed to the receiving hospital to be treated for fractures of the thigh, arm, shoulder, and injuries to the skull, but he too recovered. Uninjured in both incidents, some folks started calling the street sweeper a baby magnet. He definitely was a good man to have around when it's raining children, that's for sure. And this just in. The Central Asian Altai Mountains are a remote crossroad between the snowbound forests of Siberia, the steppes of Kazakhstan, and the arid wastelands of Mongolia. This may arguably be one of the most remote regions on Earth, which explains why Russia uses it as a space dump. The ruggedly beautiful Altai Mountains lie right under the flight path of the former Soviet Union's Baikonur Cosmodrome. Built in 1955 in the grassy southern Kazakh plain, it's where Sputnik was launched in 1957, and from where Yuri Gagarin became the first man to orbit the Earth in 1961. Soyuz spacecraft routinely launch from Baikonur to resupply the International Space Station. Consequently, all this traffic creates a lot of litter along this superhighway to and from space. Russia uses a 4-stage Proton rocket, and the second stage regularly crashes down smack dab in the Altais. An estimated 2,500 tons of space debris have fallen from the skies there since the mid-50s. Residents are given 24 hours notice of launches, and then they're on their own. Farmers make tools and animal pens from repurposed space junk, while scrap dealers wait with blowtorches to harvest precious metals from the hot and often toxic fallout. Space junk. It's a living, sorta. And finally, this also in from Russia. It was Thursday, March 15, 2018, at the Yakutsk airport in Siberia. It seemed like another perfectly routine day. Then suddenly, just as an elderly Cold War-era Antonov An-12 aircraft was lifting off, it started raining cargo. The hatch on the ancient plane had popped open and the payload was pouring out the back. And what a payload it was! The plane was transporting $378 million worth of gold bars, platinum ingots, and diamonds for a mining company. Almost 200 ingots cascaded onto the open hatch. Most clattered onto the tarmac, but the show wasn't over yet. The plane stayed airborne for another 10 minutes before it could safely touch down at nearby Magan Airport. And it continued scattering golden goodies along the entire flight path. Investigators determined that intense crosswinds had ripped off the cargo hatch. The airplane's maintenance crew was immediately detained, and Russian aviation officials intensely interrogated them. I'll bet. The good news was that no injuries were reported due to falling gold. Authorities scrambled to recover every bar before anyone noticed. So, what was the bad news? Well, latest press releases from the state-run TASS news agency reveals that most of the bars were recovered. Police reportedly are questioning all smiling Siberians. And that's about all the time we have for this episode of Weird News and Wacky History. Until next time, I'm Pastor Roland Moss, the Weird History Guy, hoping that all of your news may be just a little bit weird.